Pros and cons of technology. Right, welcome to the Elite Thinking Club, everyone everywhere. I'm Chris Jules Julian. I'm joined tonight by my co-hosts, Michael, Liz, Mads, and special guest, Lucas. Welcome back, Lucas. Guys, all right?
Yeah.
Oh,
awesome stuff. Right, guys, pros and cons of technology. And what I want to do is talk the subsections of technology being... Hold on a minute, guys. Someone mute your computers. Happy days. Let's go start again. Let's start again. Technology. What are the pros and cons of technology? So we are going to be talking about tonight things like social media, the effects of that. We're going to be talking about artificial intelligence, and we're going to be talking about what's the third one, guys? Artificial intelligence and
virtual reality.
Virtual reality, yeah. So those are the three topics of discussion we're going to be talking about tonight. But before we do that, always have to say this, okay? You cannot change anything unless you're willing to understand it, and you cannot understand it unless you're willing to explore it. A good debate doesn't get ugly. We may talk of things that make people feel vulnerable. Beliefs held sacred may be challenged because of life experiences, but we're not trying to make people wrong or to incite a riot, but simply explore. So welcome to the Elite Thinking Club. Okay. Just across the room, right? I'm just going to ask, who here believes that who's here for technology? All for it. There's no bad, there's no neg. I'm all for it. Let's keep pumping it, keep pushing forward. Say now. No one. Okay, so no one's 100% for it. Okay, and is there anyone that's like 100% against it? Like, I don't like it at all. I'm still good with going to use the yellow pages down the local phone box. Do they even use phone boxes now? Which, in a sense, is technology.
There is a few phone boxes.
I think I'm getting that way. I'm getting more towards being against it day by day.
Well, like, when we take a look at what we're doing right now, for example, there's 5 of us on a virtual call so we can see each other and communicate live time. And we're broadcasted across a platform, a social media platform. So surely this can't be a bad thing.
No.
That's amazing, I think. That is amazing that we can do that.
Right. But then so let's take a look at how it could be a negative thing, because actually let's just keep going with the highlight of the good things. So why is it a good thing? How's it a good thing?
Because it keeps people communicating like we are now. So we're not able to be in the same room.
Places.
Yeah.
Go on.
But yet we can all communicate, be connected.
Yeah. So it's almost like technology has given us this like privilege to, even though we're all in different locations, like off screen in the real world. I say the real world, but you know, I'm trying to get this right. Even though we're all in separate locations, in like technically or theory, we're all in the same location now, just on a screen. Like we're all actually together, aren't we? Magic, magic, isn't it?
I think it's great as well. Like for people who live overseas, I've got family overseas, so this sort of thing is great because years ago we just relied on letters. So that advancement in technology is a positive, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. Welcome back, Lucas.
Spread news, you can spread news quicker, make changes.
Go on, Mads.
Just like spreading, like think, especially with social media, as soon as something happens, within moments, everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
Of how vastly you can spread things using technology and social media.
So
there's downsides to that, though.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about them in a bit, but in essence, it keeps people up to date, doesn't it? It keeps people like, say, up to date, like informed, current.
Technology is also great for like medical, you know, and sort of transportation, things like that, you know, submarines, boats, aeroplanes, like the technology. It's just and all of these like medical machines they use, like MRI scans and things like that, they never had years ago. And they have that now. That is amazing. Like that our human brains have created that. That is really magic. That is.
Yeah, for real.
Because it's being used for good stuff. It's being used for prolonging life and things like that. So yeah, I'm for it in that respect.
And I love that. I love that too. I feel like everything we've all said is in essence why we choose to use it, because of all the pros. But let's let's just take a look at some of the things that technology has given us. So it's connected us, keeps us current, keeps us up to date, keeps us up to speed. And the advancements in all industries like medical and, you know, financial, and what else? Even like, well, if you looked at the timeline of it all, it just gets faster and faster and faster, doesn't it? And now we don't even have to like meddle with current time. We can pause time. In essence, we can,
like telly.
yeah, we can pause time, rewind time, fast forward time if you've rewound time. And so it's almost like we're meddling with time. Gives us the ability to be two places at once, which is really nice. But let's go into subsectors right now. Okay, so let's really like break it down. Let's just specifically talk about social media as part of technology and all the pros and cons about it. Go ahead, guys, because I'll start one time. Right, the pro, in my opinion, of social media is it can be used to spread information, factual information. The only con is that some people use it to spread misleading or false information, like fake news. That's the pro and the con from me. So, like, what do you guys think about social media?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the same boat. So I can talk to people, family in completely different towns, countries, but the downside to that is you can get fake news before real news, and that can spread like wildfire, which is the downside to it. Because if you read something, whatever you read first, normally you believe. And it's hard to get your belief away from what you've read, especially if a family member has read something, they believe it. Now they have spread that to you because you believe them. Now you believe that, and then
I'll give you an example of that. We was in Afghanistan and all we had was sat phones, right? So we only had sat phones, and we were obviously out on the ground, didn't get any internet until we got in. This is my first tour. And people, for some reason, blokes would take the piss. They'd start these rumors up like, hey, David Beckham's dead. They'd be like, what? David Beckham's dead? Shut up. No, he ain't. Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
Blokes coming back from R&R, having 2 weeks recovery and rest. And then they come back and they'd be like, yo, Michael Jordan's dead. Shut up. Really? Yeah, Michael Jordan. Fuck. And everyone was like, what the fuck? But yeah, just, yeah. So that right there is like why, I suppose, technology is good if you have it, because you can check, is Michael Jordan dead? And you'll get the real news. But if you don't have it, you're uninformed and you have to believe the lies. Anybody else? Pros and cons of social media.
A con is the keyboard warriors, trolls, inciting hate and, you know, all sorts. Racism, homophobia, sexism, everything, you know, and yeah, I see that as a massive con, especially this week with what's going on with you know, the young footballers. It's just not needed. You know, nobody wants to finish their work for the day and have to deal with lots of trolls on social media. And it's not like you can get away from it either, because these platforms aren't very good at suddenly deleting it or blocking it once it's been typed. You know, it's there for all to see. So I think it's quite an exposing thing. Social media, you know.
Let me get it right. Let me get it right. If you could expose someone, if they're willing to show the world who they really are in the heat of a moment, they're emotional.
Well, there is that. Yeah.
We can
there
now
is
catch
that, but
people.
I think with regards to people's mental health and things like that, I don't think you know, I think it is a con, because I think, you know, we're all different, and some people who use this platform are more sensitive to things than others. So I think that yeah, I just think that content and the way it's used sometimes can be a negative, but then that's with anything, isn't it? And a pro for me is that it keeps me in touch with my family in America, you know, much quicker, and it's cheaper phone bill, you know, because we go on the internet and the Wi-Fi. So I see that as a massive pro. And I think, like, for long distance relationships, or if you like, you know, if you have partners in the army and you can do a quick Zoom, I mean, that's amazing, considering years and years ago,
that's right,
they'd just send letters off
Yeah, to write blueies. Yeah, we had to write
wouldn't
blueies.
know. Yeah.
I still got blueies that I wrote from like 2000.
I remember doing boxes for my friend that was in the army and sending them off and putting Mars bars and things in. And yeah, it's just mad. I mean, I can't send a Mars bar via Zoom, but you know, you can do a little delivery, I'm sure, somehow.
I love that. I love
yeah.
that. Guys, if you're watching right now, sorry, Michael, guys, if you're watching right now and you have anything to say on this, hit those comments and also hit the like button and the subscribe button if you haven't done so as well. Thanks. Michael, go on.
Yeah, so the football thing, so what you both were saying, that is like you can see a monthly, but the problem is, to me, like they can be deleted off or arrested or something, but what that has essentially done is ruined a good thing. So England got to a good spot, but now because of all these racist arseholes, all the good work is now gone.
Well, you know what? I said this in the last podcast before, and we covered Black Lives Matter. And if you haven't done so already, guys, watch those episodes as well so you can hear what we all had to say about that. It's going to exist. It doesn't disappear. This thing is something that most people, especially Black people, have to. We have to. We get it. We have to understand that there is racist people. However, there's also racist Black people. Let's not pretend that this is all one-sided here. Just because a lot of people are highlighting that there's people being racist and this and that. Fucking hell, excuse my language. Racism is everywhere. If you go to South Africa, do you know the reverse racism there? White people are so badly treated in South Africa. It's unreal. So I'm just saying racism exists and I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's right. All I'm saying is, though, we as people need to be resilient to understand that racists exist and it is what it is. Now, I believe that social media gives these racists a platform to highlight to us who they are. Therefore, employers can then say, don't want you, fuck off. Don't want you, disappear. You know what I mean? And
That
people can be like,
week.
block, ban. Yeah, exactly. So,
I saw one as well.
Mads, go on. What are you talking about? Social media, pros and cons. Go on.
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many pros, but also so many cons. I mean, businesses can communicate with their audience quickly, and like Liz was saying, we can all communicate with each other and keep up to date with what everyone's doing. But then I also feel like it's become very superficial, obviously, especially with this Instagram. Oh, it honestly drives me mad sometimes. I just think it's
Speak your truth, Mads. Go on. What is going on?
Sometimes it drives me absolutely mad because everyone is filtering their pictures. I mean, I do it. If I go on Instagram and take like a selfie or something without a filter on, I'm like, whoa, who is that? Like, I don't know what I look like anymore without a filter. And that is so unhealthy. It's just becoming like ridiculous. Like with the influencers and
Is it the standards?
The influencers because they've got a following, huh?
Like the standards that are expected. So if you was to post a real photo, let's say with no filters and it's genuine, I mean, you can make it better with a little bit of lighting and the correct angles, but then where does it stop? Because if you know that you want to do the right lighting, the correct angles, why not do a little bit of airbrush? Why not do a little bit of like Photoshop? Because we're trying to obviously get to excellence. I won't want to say the word perfection, but just excellence. And
yeah,
I think that's where it comes from.
I don't know, but Instagram models are not helping. But then again, there's pros and cons, isn't there? Because there's also Instagram models that are very positively influencing certain topics. But there's apps as well. So many apps, like Facetune is one of the biggest ones. And so you can literally manipulate your face and your body so much. I mean, if you look at all the Love Island contestants at the moment, if you look on their Instagram, their pictures, they look nothing like what they do on that TV screen. Because they've all manipulated their pictures. They've all been airbrushed, probably changed their eye color, lips are bigger, hair's fuller, lighter, brighter, whatever. And it's just becoming absolute madness. And kids, the number one vocation, I think, at the moment in schools, especially amongst girls, is influencers.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
That is
Mads,
just...
Thank you for that, Mads. I mean, we're covering all aspects here of the social media, pros and cons, but technology. So
yeah,
Lucas, this was for you. You actually we crossed paths earlier. today, and I said, Lucas, you got to get on the show. What do you want to talk about? And you said, Jules, I want to talk about technology and the pros and cons. So let's go with the social media. Mate, what have you got to say about it?
Well, there's I don't know if anyone's seen, there's a documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma, and it's all about screen time. And if no one's watched it, then go and watch it. But
I love that. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Hey! Thanks for making little Lucas.
Yeah, if you haven't watched The Social Dilemma, then it's really interesting. It links into like screen time and how long like people have been on screens and different apps and what they're like using to manipulate you. Yeah. Because the longer you're on their app, the more money they get. So they have to figure out ways of finding how to keep you engaged on their app. Like one at the moment, TikTok. I mean, if you want to waste 30 minutes,
go on.
Just open up TikTok. Oh, the 30 minutes should go by like this.
Yeah. You know what? I just heard that on the radio on the way home. And Mark Wright was talking about how, he wastes like an hour every night before bed on TikTok or Instagram Reels.
Yeah. So there are massive pros and cons to that. So you guys know I'm on TikTok and I spread a lot of positive energy on TikTok. You ain't following me already, guys. I don't know why you're not following me. Go on there and take a look at what I'm doing on there, because I'm just giving loads and loads of positive love. And that is the community that I base myself around on TikTok. However, there is so many other communities out there, loads of information out there, and it's all 1 minute, right? So this 1 minute, this is what I've gathered, right? 1 minute hit of dopamine, of things you want to look at, things you want to see. And because it's that 1 minute, the next video is 1 minute. The next video is 1 minute. So when you say, Lucas, like, oh yeah, you can just kill off 30 minutes, it's true, because you can see 30 minutes of different things. And not only that, with the pros and cons of the social media, what these algorithms are creating within these different apps and different platforms, I'm going to call them platforms, not social media, because I think that's incorrect. Platforms is what the audience want. So they will know you better than you. So the next video you see is like literally tapered to your liking. So it could be like, you might like, I don't know, nature, and you like underwater nature, like so in the oceans and the seas and sea creatures and stuff, video after video after video of exactly that. So you will spend a good 30 minutes watching exactly what you want. There was this thing where they saw that the same hit of dopamine and serotonin was the same as a gambler. So when a gambler goes on like a fruit machine and they pull the lever and it does the spin, and they get like 0, 0, 0 or XXX, or even like, you know, I don't know, what is it? Grapes and grapes, or oranges, lucky 777s, right? And they win. That is the same flipping chemical reaction in your brain as if you saw a video or something that you like on your platform. So if you're on Instagram or Facebook and you're flicking, that flick of the finger to get to the next thing is the same as pulling that lever, and you will keep on doing it until you hit 777 or a video that you like, and you will literally like, and bang, your brain releases this chemical flush of win, and it's like, yes. And oh my God, they build these algorithms up against it. So yeah, when you mentioned that Social Dilemma on Netflix, Lucas, yeah, I have seen it, and it does explain very well exactly what it's doing to us up here. Wow, guys, if you haven't done so already, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're liking what we're saying, and hit the comments as well. Let us know what you think about this. So I'm gonna pass the mic again. Michael, anything you want to add about social media pros and cons?
That was on mute. Yeah, just like I said, so I do like it. I like most of the platforms or social media stuff because I use it to talk to people that I can't talk to, because I live in Grantham. Most of my family live in either Hertfordshire or Manchester. So that's what I use it for. But yeah, you can get sucked down the rabbit hole of TikTok. I did it last night. I was literally on TikTok for about 50 minutes, just watching random crap. And then I got stuck on one person's videos and I couldn't get rid of them until, weirdly, I said, I don't know why it keeps showing me this geezer's videos. Gone. I didn't see him again.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it must have been listening to you.
Yeah, well, it was just, it was either very lucky or it was just, but literally I said, I don't know why it keeps showing. Like every single one I did was the same guy. I thought it was on his profile after a while because it was just every single video. And then, yeah, just disappeared.
Yeah. I remember it's also short film, isn't it? It's short film, 1 minute video. That's all you need, and it can blow up, it can go viral. Beyonce had an interview and I saw this clip of her, funny, saw it on TikTok, 1 minute, but she explains that people aren't even making albums anymore. Artists don't even bother trying to create masterpieces of work because people just aren't buying it. People just don't have time for it. People's attention spans are so short, she said. I'm gonna go in the studio, I'm gonna record one track, and I'm not even needing to write lyrics of notes. I can literally make a song with one verse and one hook. That's it. Put it on a funky beat, get it out there, and if it goes viral on TikTok, you've hit the charts. They don't even care about you know, where it's ranked up in like sales or, you know, Spotify volume. They're just caring about who's liking it the most on TikTok. And yeah, so the advancements of technology, pros and cons. Music industry is affected the same way. Liz, anything more on platforms and the advance in technology, what it's doing to us, pros and cons? Have you muted your mic?
Well, I think that a massive con is the effect on mental health, 100%, and also, you know, how it's a massive distraction for the next generation. So that kind of affects their education, it affects their sleep patterns, because some of them are sneaking up and staying up till 1, 2 in the morning watching TikTok, watching YouTube, and they're getting addicted to the screen time because, like you said, I think it's the scientists have said it's the same effect as cocaine on the brain for children. Screen time is. So, you know, it can be, obviously, I think if you have a balanced, you know, it can be a positive for children if they have a balanced amount of it. But I think that also, I just think another negative is what they can be exposed to, because there are dangerous people out there who do pretend to be what they're not and lure children and etc. So but then the positives for it are, you know, kids are learning coding, kids are learning all these different digital ways of, you know, communicating, and digital ways of, you know, making computers and making robots for the future and machines and things. So there's always going to be positives and negatives. There is in everything, but that's my personal view. Like I just think that we
technology
need to keep on
and
top
social
of it.
media can be used for the education side as well. For example, especially in lockdown, because everyone's been home.
Yes. Absolutely.
I know a lot of people have been doing business calls on Zoom, Skype. I mean, I'm at uni and I was doing my lectures at home in Essex, but I'm studying in Leicester. So it's
same here. Yep.
There are so many pros to the advancements of platforms and social media and technology in regards to that matter. Plus, it's a whole generational thing. You know, the time now, I mean, I remember getting in from school when it was the birth of the internet, unplugging the phone, plugging it in, dial up, listening to it make some madness noise, like, you know what I mean? And then I'll be like on MSN and I'll be like, are you out? They'll be like, yeah. I'll see you at so-and-so place in like 5 minutes. That was like my original messenger, which it was, MSN Messenger. And then we'd go out and they get back in. And then like, I was a bit of a nerd. Me and my mates, we'd stay up, join link games and play Age of Empires online. So it was like this is a game where you would build like a civilization and you would go to war with other civilizations and you join forces, allies. Bit of a nerdy thing to do, but we did it. And that was like the original, like if you will, online connection. But obviously fast forward and the advancements of all of it, and now we have kids which I think are still doing the same thing, but it's just in a different, like, just a different way of doing it. Do you get what I mean?
I mean, like Liz, you know, you were saying about that kids are staying up late on social media and stuff. I used to sit up on the weekends till like 3, 4 in the morning on MSN talking to my friends. Literally, like me and my friend would just sit, just chatting shit all night.
I think your mum might hear this and you might be grounded after this. Watch out.
Yeah, but was there anything wrong with that?
I'm thinking more like I was 13, 14 when I was on MSN. But yeah.
But is there anything wrong with that? Is it
if you can do your schoolwork the next day, then no. But If you're up till 5 a.m. in the morning and you can't do your schoolwork the next day and you suffer for it, then yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's difficult one. I love that. Like, so
social platform, isn't it, MSN?
all right, put it this way. How would you feel if we went back in time, if we reversed the process? What if all of a sudden we woke up tomorrow and the platforms were gone? There was like a I don't know, a mass cleanse for like a year. No platforms for a year. People have just got to get on with life, and the only thing you get is a phone call. That's all you get. You get connection through phone call. You can't even message. No messenger. It's all done by phone calls. That is the only thing we have.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. That'd actually be good.
Yeah.
I'd
no more thinking club live. Go on.
Well, would we have to meet in the park and do it?
Yeah.
No.
We'd have to record it and then
actually I have to do something. So that's quite good.
Yeah.
Instead of just a quick WhatsApp to someone, you'd have to actually ring them.
Yeah.
I don't see any downsides to that.
Oh no, I'd be devastated. No.
It'd be difficult for some. It'd be very difficult. I mean, you know, you can check your phone and you can check screen time, how long you've been on your phone. And I sometimes clock about 6 hours a day. I just can't believe it. I'm like, how am I doing that and still functioning like with everything else I'm doing? 6 hours screen time. It's all productive though. It's not like I'm sitting there doing nothing. It's normally, you know, catching up on messages or trying to chase up a person or something. Normally. But it's still a lot of time that people weren't doing before. There was a time before when, you know, like in relationships now, 50% of all relationships fail within the first year. That's a high statistic. And not even that, that's like marriages and all sorts, right? But there was a time, this is what I firmly believe in, right? Is that when you would leave the house, husband and wife, you'd kiss your wife goodbye, kiss your kids goodbye and go to work. You wouldn't hear from them throughout the whole day. If your kid got hit by a car, you ain't gonna know about it unless the hospital get in contact with work phone, or, you know, or if your kid fell out of a tree and then you come home, or if your kid was naughty at school and your mum would say, you wait till your dad gets home, then your dad would get home and he'd be like, so what happened today, family? Well, he's been kicked out of school. He'd be like, come home from work and I've got to deal with this, but he would deal with it, right? They would then probably take time and talk about things at the dinner table, and the kids would probably go to bed, and the husband and wife would actually talk about their day and what's going on, and they would spend that quality time. Whereas now, because we've got mobile phones, there is no disconnect. You can message straight away. Your dad probably kissed the kids goodbye, go to work, and before he even gets to work, the wife's already texted him, remember to pick up oat milk or something. Do you know what I mean? He's like, okay, babe, love you. Yeah, love you too. And then like at lunchtime, message straight away, got this and that and that and that. Just sorry, Matt, go on. I'm going off.
See absolutely everything she's doing through her Instagram stories.
Right.
You know, those people that document every single moment of their day.
Mm-hmm. I'm turning into one. I am.
But people want to watch that.
I love it.
It's good though. It's good. That's the thing. Like, I love Instagram for especially my stories. Like, I sometimes like going back because it will archive all your stories, so you can go back and watch them. So especially from when I traveled and I was documenting everything on my stories, I love going back sometimes and just sitting back and watching them.
Yes, because it still exists.
Quite a lot to keep, like, memories are, yeah.
100%. But sometimes I get memory pop-ups from Facebook and it makes me want to gouge my eyeballs out. Like from 6 years ago, I'd said something like a song lyric from a song. And I think, why would anyone else want to know that? And why did I post that? Oh, delete that. Don't want to remember that.
That made you. That's built you. If you didn't do that silly thing, you wouldn't be you now. So
true.
Own it.
Very, very true. I just can't believe I actually believe people cared about that.
Well, we do.
Looking back at my Instagram the other day, actually, and I think one of the first few posts were like my dinners or a bottle of beer or something. Like, no one cares, no one wants to see that. It was now everything's like got like super polished content. Like, you would not put it out unless, most people wouldn't put out content unless it's like polished.
Yeah.
Or savvy caption, you know.
Matt, I'm going to say something on that.
Back then, though, I don't think people realised the power of it back then. So I think it was actually quite. The fact you said that, Jules, I find that quite endearing, because I think that just shows the innocence in it and what we all saw in it back then. Whereas now, I don't think any of us really realise what the power of it, the nature of it and what people use it for, you know, business, advertising,
Liz,
whatever.
I love that.
promote
I love
politics,
that.
you know.
Thank you, Liz. Yeah, it makes me feel a lot better. I don't want to gouge my eyeballs out of it, but you're not wrong. That is very, very true. Mads, I was going to say on what you just said there, that with the whole polished outcome, this is what I firmly believe, there is so much pressure to be perfect straight away. No one's prepared to go through the hardships of growth, development, make mistakes, learn from mistakes, and show the world that you're human. It's funny that because it's what holds people back. Let's say, for example, we started the Elite Thinking Club. I'm prepared to make mistakes. I don't mind if we come on this show and say something completely outrageous and someone comments something like, you shouldn't be saying that, whatever. At least I'm saying it. At least I'm on it. At least I'm doing it. There are so many people afraid to be their authentic, true self online because they are fearing the criticism that comes with it. And I believe that is in all generations now, not just in younger generations. We can't always keep highlighting this younger generations because we're all doing it. It's almost like we're all one generation now as well. There is no such thing as ages. There's just like stages, I guess. Lucas, you're obviously the youngest one on this call here, and you're very, very good at observing. And I love that and listening. But mate, surely you've got something else to say.
I just think the connection, I think the education of social media, like obviously you're talking about the exposure and there's negativity, but you do learn a lot from the exposure as well. There's not, back in the past, you wouldn't be able to know what the Maldives looks like or know that there's been an earthquake in the States.
Yes.
And obviously you get the risk that you can see all this racism, this abuse, cyberbullying, but at the same time, I think the education and the positives outweighs it. And plus, if you went back 10 years or back in time where you had to dial up the phone, then there'd be no crypto. So I'd be screwed.
Also, can I just touch quickly on what you said there as well, Lucas, about the Maldives and the earthquake? There's one other positive that I think I like about it as well, which is you get true journalism. So people can go live at an event that's happening, and i.e. the protests, you know, that don't get, you know, media time. You know, you can go there and do a live and people can be like, whoa, there's millions. How come that's not on the news? So it can diversify people's minds and open it up to, okay, it's not just what we're fed. So true journalism can come out of it as well, which is also educational, because I don't just mean a protest. I mean, there could be, you know, a terrorist attack, an earthquake, you know, anything, and people can go live, and so yeah.
I love the Elite Thinking Club, guys. I just want to say that out there, like, you nail it all the time. Everyone just nails it. Love that. If you haven't done so already, guys, you need to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and also put in the comments what you think. We actually value what you think, and like Michael just highlighted there as well, we've actually got hoodies with our faces on it, and like we said in the previous episode, you could wear us to bed. You can go take us to bed with you if you want. Right.
I just
one more thing with social media.
Yeah, go on.
That's what I love. Dating.
Go on then, Mads, let's have it. Dating apps. Brilliant. It's a good thing.
Well, I mean, I think there's definitely pros and cons, but
would you take me for face value, Mads? Or do you know me as a person? Not saying we're going to go on a date or anything like that, but I'm just saying, you know me as a person. We've took time to know each other. We've met up for coffees. We talk about Elite Thinking Club. We talk about loads of things. I meet you. However, if you saw me on social media, me, Chris Jules Julian, I have to like try and sell myself in an image. So like I mean, it doesn't do me any justice, does it really? I mean, I'm not good looking.
Oh, come on.
Fishing. That's what they do. They do this on social media. They fish. And can I just say something, actually, Mads, to do with your whole dating apps, right? One thing I have to say is, there's a whole lot of confident people out there who will openly just send you videos, homemade videos in the inbox. Good morning. And I'm like, okay.
Can't send pictures on them usually or anything like that.
Oh no, I'm not talking about dating apps. I'm talking like Instagram and Facebook.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Dating apps they try to be quite safe.
I guess there's pros and cons. I guess some people might actually find true love on a dating app.
Yeah, you can easily be catfished. I've been catfished before. Which, yeah, of course, someone could just find pictures, create a name, and there you go, fake persona done. And a lot of girls have got into really like, you know, they've been assaulted and all sorts of stuff, or murdered, like all sorts of stuff. But then, yeah, that's definitely a big con, isn't it? But then so many pros as well, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, if you do like an odd video randomly, you might enjoy it. Just saying, you might.
I'll forward them to you, Jules.
Please do not forward them to me. I don't want to know what you get sent. I don't want to know what you get sent.
Mads, you got a whole lot coming your way, darling.
Oh no, don't send them to me.
All right then, Michael, what was you going to say, my friend? What was you going to say?
I was just saying, one of the downsides to maybe past history on social platforms is that I've probably got about 3,000 pictures on my Facebook of me and my ex-wife. Now they're good pictures, but now I'm with someone else. Is a part of me wants to delete them all, but then the other half doesn't want to delete them all because they are memories.
Yeah.
But then every time I'm going through my Facebook and I'm sitting next to my missus, it's like, oh, that's your ex-wife, is it? It just gets a little bit awkward with that side of it.
Yeah, and that's like, what they talk about. They call that your blueprint, don't they, or your history? Like they call it your your not social media, but it's something to do like that. So basically, there's like they've got information on you that they're just like keeping this
your footprint, your social footprint.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I don't mind them having a social footprint. I don't really care what people. Like I've said this before, I don't care what people know about. In 100 years' time, I'll be dead and gone. So. Anyone can have any data on me. That's why on my YouTube channel, my number plate's on there, my name's on there.
Yes.
Couldn't give a shit.
Okay, now I'm glad you said that, Michael. I'm glad you said that because that actually brings me on to the next topic of discussion, right? That we're going to talk about here at the Elite Thinking Club. So if you're just tuning in, right, we're actually talking about the pros and cons of technology, but we've broke it down into 3 categories. We've got social media and platforms. Then we've got artificial intelligence, and then we're going to talk about virtual reality. So that actually leads me on to, Michael, when you say I'll be dead and gone, doesn't matter about my history and all this information. And then, Mad, you talked about catfishing, artificial intelligence, right? We are now at a stage of technology that I don't know if people are aware, but we are actually creating these Alexas and you know, our AI, artificial intelligence that has the ability to mimic life, right? So imagine if you gave the Alexa your identity, Michael, and you actually could upload that identity to Alexa. There's nothing stopping Alexa from creating a profile and pretending to be you living on. And because the world is obviously so big, you're now catfished, even though you're dead and gone. Alexa could be creating you.
We're nowhere near that yet. They did one on Twitter.
That kind of happens, not electronically. That kind of happens with like ID theft and stuff, doesn't it? People use dead people's IDs and stuff. You know, they look in the obituary. So it would just be a digital form of that. Absolutely, and it will happen. It will happen.
We're nowhere near it at the moment. Every scientist I've seen has said we're nowhere near it. They did one on Twitter. It lasted about 2.5 days or something because it would learn from other people's speech. Within 2.5 days, it was so racist and sexist, it had to be turned off.
Wow. I didn't even know about that, but that makes sense. Yeah, I get it. Wow. So it picked up on other people and what they say, and then just sort of relayed what they said.
Yeah, so it took everything that everyone said to it, or everyone posted mostly to it, and then it made up its own mind. But because of the stuff it went in there, it literally, I think it was less than 2.5 days. It had to be turned off because it was too racist and too sexist.
And I guess that just goes to highlight just how
the negative,
the world we live in currently, and what people feel like they just wanted to almost like splurge out onto a artificial thing. But here's another take on artificial intelligence, right? This will get your brains ticking. And if you haven't done so already, guys, hit the like button, put a comment in the comments to let us know what you think. Do we have any comments? Anyone checking on the
Yeah, I've been answering back on text wise. Kristen Wilson said a few things on there.
Love you, Christine. What are you saying? What she said?
So she said, I think people would get to know, this is when we were saying about getting rid of technology. I think people would get to know each other better and make friends and help each other. Speak on the phone much better. And then she said there's more cases of brain tumours, which she thinks is connected to mobile phones, which I said I don't agree with personally. And then she said, really, I think there's a few cases, but there may be a connection. And then I said, I don't live with mays. I don't. You can't say I may. That's not scientific.
All right, well, Michael, don't go. You and Christine can have it out. We'll get the gloves out. Ding, ding, ding. Used to. Let's go. But yeah,
Christine. That's like me going, I may be gay. Well, I'm either gay or I'm not gay.
Okay. Well, I guess I understand what Christine was trying to say there. And Michael, fair enough. You are, you know, everyone's within their right. And that again is another pro and con to what we say platforms. People are just have their right of say, don't they? They can say whatever they want and no one can really tell them it's right or wrong, because it's not right or wrong. I suppose what is true is what's appropriate. Is it really appropriate? And, you know, if it's not, then we need to get them people gone. But let's go back to what we was talking about, artificial intelligence. So I went through like a real paranoid stage. And I want to know what you guys think about this, right? Am I right to be cautious when speaking about things to people around an Alexa? And then someone said, well, Jules, it's too late for that. Like your phone's listening to everything you say anyway. So I kind of had to let my guard down about it and just be like, you know what? They're probably right. But is that, I mean, is that right? So I'll just be like, fuck, they can listen in anyway. But I mean, why have we just accepted that? Like it's acceptable.
I see it as an easy way to live, because if you, where is listening to you, like I said, I mean, the stuff I talk about, what are they going to use it for? Unless they start taking money out of my account for a reason, what are they going to use it for? So if I go on my phone and it's already what I want to look at, then it's easier for life for me.
That's exactly when I was talking to my cousin about it. That's what she said. But I'm still at a point where I just think, isn't it invasion of privacy? Because it isn't a person, obviously, it's a computer. This thing is listening to everything I say because it has to understand when I say the word Alexa, for example, that turns it on. That means it has to hear everything I say, waiting for that start word.
When you talk, you then go onto your social platforms and you'll see adverts based on what you were talking about, and your phone has been listening.
Yeah, that happens all the time. So, I didn't believe it at first, but it works.
And it baffles me. A lot of people don't realise that your phone does actually listen to what you say, everything you say. And I didn't realise how much so until I got an iWatch. Right. And every now and again I'll be talking and suddenly my iWatch will start talking. I didn't quite get that, and starts repeating and writing up on the screen what I've said. And I'm like, okay.
That's the same principle as Alexa. It's just the Siri version.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no difference. But without being rude, but what are they going to want with my log? Why are they cared about what I'm talking about? I'm nobody in the grand scheme of things. But then you don't hear the flip side of it is, well, how many terrorist attacks have they stopped because they're listening in? If they weren't listening in, then how many more attacks or bad things would occur? You don't hear about all the
100%. They have to do that.
Stop, like the Secret Service and whatever they're up to.
I just find it baffling that some people don't believe that they're being listened to when they are. We have all been being listened to for years, even on our telephones, the landlines.
Yeah. Tap the phone.
You know, it's not just with smartphones. It's been going on for years. So
there's millions of people. Like, surely they don't have the time to listen to what we have to say. Like, for what purpose? Why do they want to listen to us?
Crap me up, Michael. Yeah, I mean, you're right, Mads. Why would they want to listen to us? Because let's say, I don't want to get, like, who are they? Who are we actually talking about right here? Like, who has the power to listen to what we have to say? Because if it's all built on algorithms, like I saw this funny video on TikTok again, but there was this girl who put up in the title, things I do when my boyfriend leaves his phone lying around. She just goes up to it and she just whispers to it, Louis Vuitton bag, Louis Vuitton bag, Louis Vuitton bag, like 100 times. So when he goes on it.
Wedding rings. Baby clothes.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, who are they though? Who's listening? Like, because you know, I went through this whole conspiracy brain and paranoid brain, and I was just like very skeptical about it all. Like Will Smith on iRobot literally went through that phase. But is it right to be like that? Like, I don't want to say is it right, but imagine if everyone just kind of like submits to it and it's like, yeah, it's nothing, it's nothing. Next thing you know, we've got walking and talking Alexas, like the film iRobot. It is quite scary. Are we there yet? Are we borderlining?
No,
Right,
we're nowhere near.
All right.
From the scientists I've seen, they've said we're nowhere near it. Like, to try and get the info into just doing one thing at a time takes so much. Like, where an arm on a robot does like this to patch on. It takes so much stuff to get that to work, to get it to be a person or to act like a person. It would take so much stuff. We're gonna get there, yes, but we're so far away.
In my lifetime, because I just find it quite freaky. I hope it's not in my timeline. I
hope it is. I
don't know. If I'm an old lady and I can have a little robot helping me about, then maybe, but I don't know. If it can weed my garden and, you know, pick my strawberries and
Well, there's already those hoovers that hoover the floor, isn't there?
Yeah, see, I'm just a little bit. I just worry about those sort of things. I just think if you're, I just pictured like being asleep and then waking up and it's just like standing there by my bed. Like, is it going to kill me? Is it going to throw me around? Is it going to just give me some pancakes? You know what I mean? It's quite.
Obviously, there's
spike streams.
I mean, I'd be all right with the pancakes, but not the other two getting killed or thrown about. This is the thing. Like, they might. You just don't know the power of it.
I have Lucas, a fear. Go on, Liz. Go on. Sorry,
Lucas. I do agree. Like, you know, there is so much good that comes from it, and things that it does stop, and things they track and things like that. You know, that saves lives and children getting taken and things like that. So yeah, I do agree in that respect. I just find it a bit scary with us normal
welcome
folk.
back, Lucas. We've missed you, mate. I was going to say that I've missed you.
If I'd have known you were coming on tonight, I would have done fancy dress and everything. I've been trying to put a background on saying welcome back, and that's not working. I would have got party hats for us all and everything. So next time,
so it's good to be back on one of them. It was good. I did miss it, but busy at work and stuff.
Definitely, we understand. I do have a fear, long-term wise, that people will become so disconnected to people, but more connected to computers, artificial intelligence, robots. We will no longer have this connection. I mean, I know it's early days, but there are Michael. I mean, already, obviously, people are disconnected from people to the point where, you know, where does it end? But I'm not going to go down that. Let's just talk about that then, where people are disconnected, which brings us on to the third topic of discussion. And if you're just tuning in, we have been talking about the advancements of technology, the pros and cons. We've covered platforms and social medias, and we've literally just covered artificial intelligence. But what I'm going to go into now is virtual reality. So, Michael, you own a virtual reality. I was going to say a virtual reality headset in there. Talk us through the experience, because I haven't actually used one of those yet. But what's it like?
So you can half see it when you're watching it on other people's YouTube channels, but a lot of the time it looks very fake. But when you actually do it and like you get into it, she recorded me doing I'll send you it if you want to see it, like me just proper into it. I was doing this sword game, but you get so immersed into like I said, when you first get on it, it's not like the best quality pictures. But once you're in there a little while, you completely forget about that. And yeah, it's just, you work out a lot. Like, I come off there drenched in sweat. It's so enjoying to do. And also, like say now where we can't, like if we all had VR, we could literally have bodies in the same room playing poker or having a chat or going on an adventure. Yeah, I didn't want to like it, but I'm so hyped about VR. It's only going to go better. Like cinema as well. We can watch a film as if you're in the same room. So you can go in a cinema and watch the same film together. You can chat, pretend to eat popcorn and all this other stuff, where you're at the other side of the country together.
Yeah.
Well worth it. £300 Argos.
Anybody else used VR, the virtual reality headsets yet, or experienced it?
I know how they'd be quite useful. So one of my friends, he's well, if you look at different sports, so if you take F1, a lot of them you can't simulate being inside of an F1 car and going around the track until on the race day. So if you're training, you can go in sort of more simulation, and that can enhance your performance training and make it more realistic, so that when you go into when it matters, it's not as big of a shock.
Wouldn't that just replace the cars in general, like reduce the risk? What if like a driver was to die, obviously from a fatal car crash, and then they say, right, we're scrapping that now, we're sticking to the VR. It is literally the same. Why don't we just do that?
Yeah, I don't think it will, just because.
Yeah, I mean, they still do that. You got like I don't know what they were called, but each different, they've got like online game in different leagues and stuff. I know there's different championships where I don't know particularly, but yeah. I still think being it in real person is better than, for example, you take football, doing a football match, and really you get injuries in football. Why don't they scrap it and just go everything you're playing FIFA instead? I mean, you've got the parallel things that run side by side, but I think in person is a lot better.
Yeah, esports you're thinking of.
I'll talk you through an experience. So there was this Star Wars expedition in Westfields, like the original Westfields, and went there, got invited by a friend. He goes, Jules, you got to do this. I said, all right, let's go. Team of 4 of us. And we went, and you put on the headset, you put on the backpack, and you literally go through this whole simulation. And it was awesome. Like I was in it, like Michael said, so in it. And I didn't want it to end. I didn't want it to end because it was just awesome. It was experiencing a world, Star Wars world, shooting droids and all sorts. And it felt so real. Now, the only thing that I took from it as well was, if it felt that real, and I always knew it wasn't real, but if I was in it long enough and I was exposed to things that were a little bit traumatic, that would affect me. It would stay with me psychologically. So you can wear a VR headset and play a game like Night of the Living Dead or one of those, scary ones. And because it's not real, but your brain don't know no different. It's visually seeing some traumatic shit. Is that going to be that I think that's a real big con. Like it shouldn't, they should be warned. People will suffer if they experience things like being stabbed to death in a VR headset. It's just like a dream. When you snap out of the dream, like fucking, and your body's dripping with sweat, and you're like, thank Christ that was not real. But it's traumatic. You can have a traumatic dream.
Have you seen Black Mirror?
Oh, sorry.
Have you seen any of the Black Mirror episodes, Jules, or anyone?
Yeah.
I've seen a couple.
Black Mirror.
There is one where he puts VR goggles on, and there's like a drug they give him. I can't remember which episode it is, and there's like these huge it's not actually happening, but he thinks it is, and he's having, oh my gosh, these absolute meltdowns. It's really scary. There's like spiders and everything, like huge spiders and steroids. But yeah, I love all of those. Are kind of very VR concept led, aren't they?
I suppose it would be awesome if we could all wear headsets and we'd all feel like we were in the same room. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I played poker for like 4 hours the other night, and obviously, like I said, once you get in there, you can see it's all fake. But once you're in there for like an hour, like I'm trying not to hit people next to me.
I was going to say, I had quite a good experience with it against green screen at Warner Brothers. a few times, and first time it was a bit freaky. It was a bit like, whoa, and they were like, no, over that way, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. But then when you get used to it, I actually find it quite entertaining, and I feel like I'm jumping into like kind of like the film The Matrix, when he's like, whoa, where am I, what am I doing? I kind of feel like I've been plonked into this world, and then sort of when I've taken off the headset and everything, it's like coming back to reality. It's very, I found it very, very entertaining. But yeah, the first sort of couple of times I found it quite freaky, definitely. But yeah.
It's interesting. Obviously, we're not going to know in 100 years' time, unless, of course, we live for another 100 and however many years, but we're not going to know what actually becomes of it. It'd be nice to know. But because what we have got right now, obviously, is the birth of like all of these technology and platforms. We can do holograms now. I saw a video of like, they made a hologram of Tupac Shakur on stage. I mean, that must have been amazing. The people that couldn't see him on stage now can see him on stage. His legacy lives on. And if they can do that with him, I'm sure they could do it with others, you know? And then if you put on the headset and they can create these characters, and you can literally, I don't know, have a conversation with Princess Diana. Who knows? Wow. I've seen modern technology now, and some of the birth of these apps that do this face recognition stuff, but they can actually apply blinking eyes and smiles on faces of pictures. So there was this girl on TikTok who said she found what this filter, I think it's just a filter you can apply, and her mother died when she was like 4 or 5 years old. So she took a photo of her mother, applied this filter, and she burst into tears because what the app was able to do was to make her mother smile and blink and nod. And it was like, she just cried because she saw this, you know, picture of her mom, like a picture. It was like a motion picture of her mom. I also heard about a guy who cried because there is a game called Colin McRae Rally on the PlayStation. And when you would do the time trial, the game would save your fastest time, and they call it ghost mode. So you could try and race against the ghost car when you revisit it. And his dad died, but they used to play that game together. And his dad had the fastest lap time. So he dug out the PlayStation just for old time's sake, put on the game, and he forgot that the game did that. But when he went back on there, he raced his dad. Like it could simulate the race that him and his dad would, you know, and he said that he raced it for time. He said, I'd race it again and again and again because it just made me feel like the boy that I was when my dad was around, and that was magical. So yeah, I was just saying. What you got there, Michael? Tupac Shakur. That's the hologram. Yeah, that's the hologram. Look how real that is. And if you were on stage, they managed to do it. You should definitely YouTube it. Yeah, and he's walking up and down the stage, rapping.
Oh yeah, I met the guy that does that technology.
That is
so yeah, it's so crazy how they do it. But yeah, it's same as Disney. If you watch Disney rides, it's the same technology. So all the ghosts and people.
Love that.
Yeah. Powerful.
Love all that.
There may be a time when people will be wearing these headsets, and who knows what's going to happen. It's exciting, isn't it? We're all for technology, aren't we? We're all for it, aren't we? Moving forward, all of the positives that we said and all of the cons that we said, I suppose the pros outweigh the cons. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep seeing what happens, because for all we know, it could be really, really good. Optimistic future. Yeah, love that. Well, guys, I think we're going to end it on that. Like, so if you're watching and you've got anything to say, definitely put it in the comments, and also share it as well. If you know anybody that you think is going to really enjoy this chat, share it with them. And, you know, check out the other videos as well. All the things that we've done in the past. I want to give a shout out to Lucas for rejoining us for an episode. Love that. Thank you, my friend. And yeah, so everyone everywhere.
Loving the wall still, Lucas. Loving the wall.
Yeah, it's still going.
Good man.
Exactly. I love that. Right. Well, so for me and everybody else here at the Elite Thinking Club, for you guys, everyone everywhere, peace and love.
Peace and love.
Bye.